Yes! What's up, everyone? Welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. A big thanks to everyone who's been getting involved, whether that's subscribing to my channel, leaving likes on the videos, or getting involved in the comments section. All of that stuff helps, so thank you very much. Also, a big thanks to everyone who's purchased a heater using my affiliate link. For those of you who don't know, I purchased this heater with my own money. After I did so, Viver approached me and asked me if I wanted to work with them. I said yes, and now we have an affiliate link. What that means is you can go to the description below, use that affiliate link. I get a small kickback. It helps me out. And down there is also a promo code VVS10 for $10 off your purchase, or VV promo for $5 off site-wide. I've been doing a whole lot of experiments with my diesel heater, trying to get it to burn waste motor oil, and I would recommend that you do not do the same. Follow your manufacturer's recommendations, whether that be the fuel they tell you to burn, the way they tell you to install it, or the way they tell you to operate it. Doing what you see me do could get you injured, killed, damage your property, or cause a complete loss of property. So just don't do it. Let's head over there now, and we'll talk a little bit about what we did in the last video and what we're going to do this time. The last test was a little bit of a failure, but like all failures, it gave us some useful information. To remind ourselves of what that test was, we were preheating the fuel by running a piece of brake line through the heat exchanger, about an 8-inch piece, and it was getting the fuel up to about 100 degrees Celsius. Of course, depending on the temperature of the exchanger itself. We also had removed the baffle, and it seems that it's burning cleaner, but a bad side effect of it is that sometimes when it reaches temperature, it's actually backfiring and making the flame go out. So then you have to start all over from square one. So I'm going to do something now that a bunch of people have recommended. I'm going to install some valves and start the heater on diesel, switch over to the waste oil, a waste oil mix, and we'll run it like that. The theory is that the diesel will get the chamber up to an operation temperature. Waste oil needs a higher temperature to be able to burn. So the theory is get the burner up to temperature with the diesel, get it nice and hot, switch over to the waste oil, and then the waste oil will burn nice and clean because it is nice and hot from the diesel burn. I'm a small engine mechanic, and so I happen to have some of these Oregon fuel valves kicking around. I've got a few of them, and they will work just fine for switching the waste oil diesel mix and the diesel. I also have some of this hardline, which I haven't been using up to this point, but I have already had this because I use it for vacuum infusion. If you guys check out the videos on my other channel, I've made some vacuum infusion carbon fiber parts in the past, so if that's something you're interested, feel free to go check that out. I'm guessing not, but I thought I would mention it. This line quite conveniently fits inside of there, and then these T's fit inside of the hard line. So I'm going to tee off at the pump, and then we're going to run fresh diesel in one side, waste oil diesel mix in the other. I can switch one off and turn the other on once it's up and running, and hopefully it works. All right, folks, this is some pretty high-tech, complicated stuff, so I suggest that you pay attention if you want to understand any of it. This is what we have. We have a fuel dish. In this fuel dish is some pure, clean diesel that goes down through this hose, and this valve is currently closed. That tees off to the fuel pump, the inlet side of the fuel pump, and then it goes into the heater. And then over here on the other side of the T, we have a valve that goes to the filter and then into our waste oil. So what we're going to do is turn this valve on, and then we're going to push a couple buttons there and pump the diesel through the system until we get clean diesel coming out over here. Then we're going to start it, run it till it's up to operation temperature. Once it's at operation temperature, we will shut this valve off, open up this valve, and then we will have our waste oil diesel mix going in. All right, I am not going to assist it. We're going to see what happens here. Oh, it went out. In an upcoming video, we are going to find out why it starts so hard and also why it sounds so bad. Some of you were right. Whoa, fella. Take it easy there, big guy. So, I don't know if you guys are picking up on this or not, but apparently diesel does not boil as easy as waste oil. Who knew? I don't see any bubbles coming through here at all. Alright folks, I've been running this for a little while now, and the temperature is stabilized around 208, 210, and I'm about to switch it over to waste oil. It's been running on diesel long enough now. It's been quite hot, and it should be up to temperature. People say that you get it up to temperature, then you switch it over. It's been running for at least half an hour. I've actually filled this or put additional fuel in this cup now twice. And so I'm going to shut off this valve and then open this valve. So are you ready? Unfortunately, these lines aren't clear, but we will be able to see them get darker probably. It happens quite gradually because the fuels mix at first. But here we go. We're going to switch this one off, and then we'll switch this one on. I can see it starting to bubble now at the fuel line, so I'm pretty sure this is now the waste oil. We'll listen for the sound to change. All right, the temperature seems to be fairly stable. 204, 206. Oh, as I say that, it goes to 202. It doesn't sound bad, but the sound has definitely changed. 198. We are now burning on a waste oil diesel mix. We've got 1/4 diesel and 3/4 waste oil, and the temperature is plummeting. 186. Interesting. That is quite curious. It is quite interesting that the temperature dipped when it switched over. It's currently 12:33 in the morning, so just past midnight. I came out to get my phone. I forgot my phone out here. Came out to grab my phone and check on this thing, and man, there's a thick haze in here. I could smell the smoke outside. I don't think it's going to be running by morning, but I might shut it down anyway because I am afraid of how hot that duct probably is. I'm gonna get my meter and check it. I don't think I want to run this overnight. So what we'll do is we'll shut it down on the diesel. 75, 76 Celsius. Yeah, I'm shutting this down. 68 up there. The exhaust is hot. See how long it burns for now that it's shut down. That will kind of give us some indication of how clean it's burning. If it's burning really clean, it shouldn't burn for long. The fact that it's still burning indicates that there's unburnt fuel in there, which probably means that waste oil wasn't burning. Still burning. I'll tell you when it goes out. Alright, I think it's out. How long was that? Okay, folks, I guess we're done testing for tonight, which is unfortunate. We will come out tomorrow, fire it up, and run it for a bunch of the day tomorrow and see what happens. Is my battery dead or falling out? What's going on out here? What are you beeping about? There's no heater running. Is the battery dead? Alarm, 4 beeps. What? 4 beeps. Move to fresh air, call 911. Okay, something went wrong with the alarm because that doesn't make any sense. Alright, the first startup attempt was a fail. It went to 24 Celsius. I shut it off because I didn't want it to flood horribly bad. This is what came out of the exhaust while it was running on the waste oil yesterday. Lots of carbony stuff. It'll actually heat up a little bit going through the cool down cycle, hopefully. Then it'll start easier the next time around. Okay, so it should start up pretty quick here this time. We're at 42 Celsius to start with. And it's already flamed up. If the fan would chill out. As you guys can see, even starting on diesel, this is not a straightforward startup for me. Not sure why that is, but it's 8 degrees in here, so it's not super cold. Update time, not that there's much to update. It has been running for a few hours now, about 3 or 4 hours, and doesn't sound wonderful. It is making some fluttering noises, which I think means it's not burning terribly well. The temperature is staying up. It's up around 206, and because I'm out here, what I'm actually going to do is switch it back over to diesel for a few minutes. It has been a few hours since my last update. It is 7:32 and I'm out in the garage. It doesn't stink like diesel or... Actually, I smell some sort of perfume. It doesn't smell like diesel or motor oil, burning motor oil, which is weird. The last time I was out, it was actually quite stinky. And when I first came out, I don't know if I actually showed that on camera, but the carbon monoxide detector was beeping. I had one window partly cracked open while I was in the house. I've been monitoring the temperature and it's been hovering right around 200 and it's 202, 204 right now. It's been, I saw it drop a couple times, but then I just ignored it. And like all problems, ignore it and it fixes itself. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds fine and I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm gonna continue filtering some oil, then mix up another batch. It's burnt through that much fuel today, so about half a tank. I'm gonna guess it's burning some soot out of the exhaust right now. All right, folks, the temperature in here is 13.5 degrees Celsius. It is 11:40 p.m. The heater's making some funny noises again. I'm gonna switch it over to diesel. Oh, look at there. All the stuff that got spit out of the exhaust. It is currently 1:06 a.m. and quite surprisingly, I'm not here to tell you guys that the heater stopped and that I'm gonna take it apart. I'm actually here to tell you that it sounds pretty good. I ran it through a cycle of diesel and played around with some methanol, which I shouldn't have done, but I did it anyway. It is running at 208 right now. It sounds really good. The exhaust isn't really hot, so I'm going to leave it run, and if it's still running in the morning, that could mean that something that I'm doing is the answer. I'm preheating the fuel. I'm running 1/4 diesel and 3/4 waste oil. And what else am I doing? I'm completely drawing a blank because, oh yes, I started it on diesel. And I've run it on diesel every 4 hours. I run it for about 10 or 20 minutes. All right, folks. I think I shot a clip of it on my phone, but I might not use that. So you guys might not know what happened last night yet. So I'll update you. I was in bed around 1:40 a.m. and I looked at my controller, my remote control, and it said overheating. So I could have tried to restart the heater, but it would have been restarting on waste motor oil mix instead of diesel. So I decided to leave it off overnight. So that means it is currently 9 degrees in here, so I'm going to turn some heat on. And then I'm going to pull the heater down off the shelf just to do an assessment of what it looks like now after, I don't know how many hours. I guess I'll have to figure that out in the footage. But this is going to be a hopefully mid-test teardown. Time to pull the burn chamber out and see what it looks like in here. Okay. This is what the burn chamber looks like inside, so there definitely is lots of crud in there. But I think it's actually hollow in behind. So, is this helping? Maybe. Does it solve the problem? I would say no. Right around the exhaust area, this is what it looks like. So very likely this is the stuff that we were seeing getting blown out the exhaust. It's very floofy, light carbony stuff. So inside of the heat exchanger actually looks pretty good. There is some loose stuff in here I'll dump out because the camera won't, yeah, you can kind of see it at the bottom there. Yeah, I'll dump that out. So running it this way definitely helps. There is a lot less buildup and it comes out a lot easier. In behind that giant mound was basically hollow. There's not a lot of substance to it. As you can see, it broke free fairly easily. This actually looks quite promising. I have to say that this is the best result that I've had so far while testing waste oil. I've tried all sorts of different mix ratios with all sorts of different fuels. I've tried modifying the burn chamber. I've tried running it without a baffle, and this is the best result that I've had so far. Not only has this produced the least amount of carbon in all of my testing, but the carbon or the buildup that it did produce was fairly easy to break up, and it also did not stick to the surface of the burn chamber very well. So it was actually very easy to get off. Also, a lot of carbon didn't build up inside of the burn area. So I don't know if I've actually discussed this in a video before, but I believe the burn is all supposed to happen in between a little shelf that sits about here and the entrance of the burn chamber, which is here. So the fuel comes into the line here, the air is introduced, and all of the burn should happen inside of this area. But in mine, because I'm burning waste oil or waste oil mixes, a lot of the time it spills out, or every time I've done it, it spills out into this part of the chamber. You can actually see a little hint of a loop on the outside of the chamber here, where it stays a lot cooler. This area of the chamber stays a lot cooler because the stuff piles up on the inside of the chamber and sits right in that area. That is typically where I get the most carbon buildup, and also where I have to spend the most time scraping the carbon off after I've cleaned. It cleaned up very easy this time, and once again, inside of the main burn area was very clean. So that's not terribly unusual. It does stay fairly clean in there, but this time there was nothing in there at all. So thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this, be sure to subscribe. In the next video, well, I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. I'm going to do a compilation of some viewer suggestions that I've done during filming other tests. So it's going to be probably a huge mess, but I'll do my best to edit it together so that it makes sense. So basically, I've done little things throughout other tests that viewers have suggested, like insulating the fuel line on the way into the pump, removing the baffle bracket that I made because people said that it was disturbing airflow, and also dealing with the exhaust. I had a bunch of people say that the exhaust had too many bends in it, that it was not pointing in the right direction, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. It was going into my ventilation system. And so I've addressed a bunch of that stuff. I'm going to compile it into one video, but it was filmed over a long period of time, so I don't know if I can actually make that work. Once again, if you guys want to support me, there are a few ways that you can do that. I do have a Patreon. And also I have an affiliate link in the description below where you can pick yourself up a heater that is similar to mine, and I get a little bit of a kickback if you use that link to make your purchase. Also, there is a discount code VVS10 for $10 off, or VV promo for 5% off store-wide. Once again, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.